Hello everyone and welcome to episode 76 of the James Layton Fitness Podcast. Now in today's episode we'll be discussing carbohydrates. Now there's a lot of confusion around carbohydrates at the moment, and within this specific podcast I'll be debunking two big misconceptions. So I'm going to be debunking these misconceptions, then I'll provide some practical applications at the end of the podcast. It's more about these specific misconceptions rather than discussing carbohydrates as a whole, because otherwise you could discuss that topic for hours on end. But really specifically discussing these misconceptions. So the first misconception I wanted to discuss is people have this false assumption that if they just eliminate carbohydrates, they'll be in a position where they can lose body fat. And it's just completely false, because you can easily over-consume total fat, and as such you can be in a position where you can wipe out the energy deficit needed for fat loss. So we need to take a step back and actually look at our bigger picture within our fat loss phase, and that is to create the energy deficit needed for fat loss. As such, we need to be burning more calories than we're consuming. So for example, if you just eliminate carbohydrates yet you overconsume total fat intake, you can be in a position where not only can you wipe out the energy deficit, you could potentially create an energy surplus if you were consuming more calories than you're burning. So this is just a huge misconception that people just think, oh, just eliminate carbohydrates and I'll start losing body fat. It's just completely false if you then replace those calories with dietary fat intake. So just keep this in mind. It's not quite as straightforward as just eliminate carbohydrates, and for most individuals eliminating carbohydrates just simply isn't necessary. I'm going to give you some practical applications at the end of the podcast, but just keep this in mind. This is a huge misconception. The second misconception is people have this false assumption if they just eliminate carbohydrates they'll eliminate insulin, and as such they believe that they'll just start burning body fat again. Again, this is just a false misconception. You need to appreciate that protein is also insulinogenic as well. So if you're consuming protein, you're still going to be stimulating insulin. Additionally, you need to appreciate that insulin isn't a bad thing. Insulin is just a normal function within the body after consuming carbohydrates and protein. So stop trying to control this. So if you have this false assumption that if you eliminate carbohydrates, you eliminate insulin, it's completely false, because if you're still consuming protein, you'll still be stimulating insulin anyway. Again, taking a step back and looking at that bigger picture, we need to focus on creating the energy deficit needed for fat loss, so burning more calories than we're consuming rather than trying to control insulin. So hopefully that's cleared those two big misconceptions up. I think the big takeaway message I want you to take away from this podcast is carbohydrates are not bad. Your carbohydrate consumption should basically be tailored to you and your goals. So here's some practical applications to start implementing. If your goal is fat loss, focus on the following key principles. Have weight training as the foundation of your routine. The main reason being is weight training will help to preserve lean muscle mass within the fat loss phase. Therefore, when we then create the energy deficit needed for fat loss, we're mainly going to be losing body fat, glycogen and water, mainly preserving as much muscle mass as possible, because we have that weight training within the foundation of our routine. In addition to that, have macronutrient and calorie targets set up to you and your goals. Now, if you're still yet to download my free ebook, How to Set Up a Nutrition Plan, if you go to my website, you can download that immediately, and that will help you to set those calories and macronutrients up suitable for your goals. Then you're going to measure your progress. You're going to be focusing on a 0.5 to 1% weight loss target per week, and this is a great rate of weight loss because this will allow you to lose body fat but at the same time maintain as much muscle mass as possible, because it's a very slow and progressive rate of weight loss. Then you're simply going to make changes to either calories and or cardio when you reach a plateau. So as soon as you reach a plateau, you don't reach that 0.5 to 1% weight loss target, you're going to increase cardio and or decrease calories from carbohydrates and fats. So hopefully this has helped. Hopefully this has cleared up these big misconceptions, because people have these false assumptions about carbohydrates, and you just need to appreciate that carbohydrates are not bad. They should just be tailored to your goals and then edited subject to your progress. E.g., you will be more than likely reducing carbohydrates and fats within the fat loss phase. So just appreciate they're not bad, they just need to be tailored to you and your goals and then edited subject to your progress. Like I mentioned throughout the podcast, you've still yet to download that free book on my website, How to Set Up a Nutrition Plan. This will teach you how to set those calories and macronutrient targets up suitable for your goals, and I'll also teach you how to make changes subject to your progress. So if you go to James Layton, Layton, fitness.co.uk, you can download that immediately. Okay, thank you very much, guys. I'll look forward to speaking to you next week. Take care.